Hi everyone, it's Cindy. Welcome back to Studioloo. I'm here today with a flip through of my latest journal. This is a chunky one. This is Aloysius Sisters. So the cover of this book is covered with a very old, looks Victorian cabinet card. I don't have an exact date on it. It's from Woodstock, Ontario, and it has these lovely women on it here, and I love their outfits. Like, they're just really interesting. So the cover itself is this really cool, you can see it mostly on the back where there's this little embossed sort of urn with flowers in it. It's like purple fading to gray with this black kind of marbling. So the original spine of this was only 1.5 inches, and I needed a 3-inch spine for what I wanted to do with this book. This original book is called Aloysius Horn, Waters of Africa. So this, I think, is like an explorer type book about this man Aloysius Horn, but I've really changed up the theme. So to begin, I've put a metal book plate here that has some eco-printed paper inside for writing on. It is removable. You can see there how it can slide, but you can also keep it in there. You can glue it down if you don't want it to be removable. This is braided on the front, so nothing comes off. There are metal eyelets with all of my coffee dyed lace. There's lots of coffee dyed lace in this book. It's on the edges here as well as the tie. Then I had this, so I went through, I got a very, very old sewing kit quite some time ago, and it had this very old bent up pin in it. And I considered whether I should use a rusty pin or not, but this is a very old pin. It's not rusted, but I like how it looks there. So I've just pinned it through the fabric. So I've made sort of a flexible soft cover, hard cover kind of for this book. So it's got a hard cover on the inside of the fabric, but there's some flex here where I've actually sewn it to the front and back of the original book cover. Then I've got there's little buttons on here. So these were originally in the little sewing kit. And then I've added more of the coffee dyed lace that's just tied there. A couple pieces have these little gold vintage buttons, and then also I've stitched on here by hand. I've made some clusters of the coffee dyed lace and old buttons. These are old Victorian buttons, this one here. These gold buttons are also old. It's just a lot of fun how it came together. So you'll see few tabs and things sticking out the top, a bit coming out the sides here. We'll get to that. But this book is it's chunky. It's 208 pages, 6 signatures. It has a 3-inch spine, and it is 8 by 5 3/4. So we open it up here, and you may recognize some of the ephemera in here. I was able to use a few things from both Round Robin and from Mayhem. So this front pocket here has this little girl. There's some florals. This is made from a vintage children's dress, and inside I've added some things, but the end papers is this black kind of wallpaper paper. And so this is a slide. Hopefully you can see that it's a slide that has a woman standing outside of a barn, the barn door. It's very cool. They're all 1930s slides. A lot of the ephemera in here that's original is around 1930s, except this is from 1889, and it's a little handwritten piece of paper from a ledger book, a little tiny one. And this is 1934. It's an invoice from Guelph, Ontario for charging a battery and replacing a cylinder head. So, automotive receipt. And those all just pop in here. Then over here we have this little kind of cabinet drawer belly band, like from like a library cabinet, and it's got some crystals in here, sort of like little pictures that would be on some of those shelves. You can fill more of those in. And then inside I've got this little kind of creepy doll booklet. It just opens up here. It's from a vintage doll book, so had lots of fun images of vintage dolls, and inside is just hand-dyed paper, and that tucks in here. And then here we have some old paper down on this lovely paper from, I've used some some paper from this book called Nomad. It's a really interesting travel book, but it's also very grungy and interesting. This is the original first page of the life and works of Alfred Aloysius Horn, edited by Ethelreda Lewis. And I've added this girl here with her bat wings, and she's holding on to a postage stamp. So again, in that collector spirit, I think this is 1929, I believe. And this is eco-printed paper with sumac leaves. And this is boiled book doll pages. You will see a few of those as we go through the book. This was cut out of an art book, and I just really liked it. I thought it was a cool little slide that some artist put together. Then over here we have this little numeric card on more of that boiled book doll paper, and this is a little journal card that has a medical illustration of the lungs. This is some hand-dyed paper in my Stormy colorway, and I've stitched some coffee-dyed lace to the edge. This is from a vintage botanical book and has an orchid there on it. This is a little flip out. It says, some seeds are provided with wings. These curious keys cling in clusters to the maple tree. And you can write on the back of that tip out. This is some coffee and sort of an aquatone dyed writing paper, lined paper. And more of that botanical book and my hand-dyed paper. More of the boiled doll book. I've painted in gray over the text, so this would be easier to write on. And more eco-printed paper. This little basket is a tuck on one of the original pages from the book. And this is, it says itinerary, traveling alone. And it has these two stitched to it, and it's a journal card. We have this palmistry guide here, tuck spot, and this is the original photograph of Mr. Aloysius Horn, and I had to include him in here. This is a little label that says 26 London Street, and this is from a folder. This is more of that Nomad book. It's just got a really great feel to it. So on this side, it has all these bottles on shelves. It's basically written by this woman who's traveled the world and done really cool sort of photography that's very aesthetic to like her style. And this is cut out of an art book. It says The Story of a Bad Boy, Spherical Concave. It's like an artist's rendering of a collage, I think, on the cover of a vintage book. And then we have this tag here. It's got these metal pots on it, and then I got this little picture of this little boy. I think this is a Tim Holtz, what are those called? The photo booth, and he had a little pot, so I thought he fit well there, and some stitching and things on that tag. And then this is a journal card on a rusty paper clip. We have a little tag on this tab. This says, you can look into so many people's lives through the eye height windows. Soap maker, woodworking studios, instrument makers, tambourines, weird grotto things, religious icons, taxidermy, booksellers. And I've clipped it here with this fun punch. And that just tips in, and we have this little autographs book cover pocket, and inside these are toadstools. Don't forget that toadstools are poisonous. Mushrooms never grow like this with umbrellas inverted. Some of my hand-dyed paper with coffee-dyed lace. This little doorway opens, and inside you see a couple of creepy little dolls looking out at you. And then this is a pocket. It says, the sprightly grasshopper that hums such a cheery song is seldom at rest. And this is from the cover of a book. And it says the contents, the Chesterfields and the Earlys and odd conversations, which I decided to just draw lines around so that it was noticeable. And then we have this spider web journal card. This is Tim Holtz, and then this is some of my dyed papers and my boiled book from the doll book. These are eco-printed construction paper with rose petals and sumac. This says alphabets, and it's on some marbled paper made by a local company, thepapertrail.ca. And this is a 1935 Palmer Brothers invoice. You can write on the back of that as well. It's like stationery. Then another botanical page. And on this side, more of that lovely marbled paper, and this belly band is paint samples. And then we have this cathedral journal card. This is also from Tim Holtz. I've used quite a bit of Tim Holtz in here. I was kind of feeling the Tim Holtz vibes for this book. And then more of the boiled book with sumac and the boiled book with the dolls. More hand-dyed paper. This is like kind of a bingo card paper, and then I've stitched some book spine on here, and it says urged by the edicts of nostalgia. And this is a journal card. It says pond skaters are among the small fry that dwell in the pond, their long thin legs as fine as thread. That just tucks in there. And this is from a very old vintage book. It says the monarch of the glen, and has this large deer. And inside we have this journal tag that says, if you're lucky enough to be different, never change. And it's Tim Holtz dolls that I've arranged on that background. And this is some fun hand-dyed papers. This is a folio that I made actually during Round Robin, and it's got this is like a see-through bag with a ginkgo leaf dried inside it, stitched on some book spine. It's got some raffia up here, and in the tuck spot we have this Tim Holtz sort of anatomical journal card, and then this, the color on it is amazing. This is an old folder that's been colored with oxides, and I've stitched on this plastic diesel tag. This was foraged for me by Mary Ellen because she's awesome, from Red Parrot. And then you can see the mica staining here on the folder. It's kind of like metallic. Then we have this is a little modern shoe repairing plant tag that I got from Wishes and Weeds, from her shop. And then over here this label says example 3, and I've included in here a few of these. So these are informational tags about different mythology characters. So this one's about Pandora, the first woman overcome by curiosity opened a vase full of evils, and it has all the information about Pandora on it, and it tucks into this folder pocket back there. This is some of my batik hand-dyed fabric. I've stitched on some book spine, and this is from that Nomad book. You'll see some fun bits and bobs back there. And then this is one of the journal cards I made during Mayhem from plastic packaging, this grungy plastic frame that's been put down with brads on this journal card, and it says some things in love will not condone and must be suffered quite alone. And that just tucks in there. This is a jelly print that I made using an egg carton, and it's just some stationery in this plastic netting pocket. This is like drywalling material, I believe, or not drywalling. This one's for I think maybe when you install pipes and things. I forget now. I like to get a lot of industrial materials when I find them in thrift stores to put in my books, so it's that. This is some of my hand-dyed paper with coffee-dyed lace. Then some more of the boiled book doll book. Some craft paper. This is a nice gold marbled handmade paper, and in here we have this sort of creepy bride and groom, and I've got some in the background. This is some National Geographic that was dissolved. This was, I believe, from Shell at Shell's Creative Chaos, and some of my handmade paper and some Japanese paper, just nice collaging. And the silver is actually from a balloon that I broke down during Junk Journal Mayhem. This is eco-printed construction paper with sumac and rose petal. More dyed paper. This little collage pocket here. This is some authentic Gold's Legal Ledger from, I believe, the 1930s. I believe it's 1930s. If not, it's older. Then this is a journal card that says The Squirrel in the Act of Flying, and that's from an old book about mammals. I've left the ledger alone because it's just so pretty. It probably has some dates on it. It goes, I think, from the 20s to the 60s, that ledger book. Then this is some more of the hand-dyed papers. And on this side, we have this journal tag that was made with bread ties. During mayhem, she has always been afraid of storms and said so. And I felt like this could go with, you know, the front here. Maybe it's these girls on a different day. Craft paper, boiled book doll paper, hand-dyed paper. This is a hand-dyed with cabbage 2-table tally, and this journal card here is made from a foraged tag also from Mary Ellen at Red Parrot, and I've collaged on top of it. Then this is the other side of that folio. So we have this little very dyed baggie, and it's pinked around, and I've stitched it on here. This is a repair tag that I used as a belly band, and then it's all on that mica stained folder. Then this is a little Bee Gleanings of Bee Culture Monthly, a little tag that just goes right in here. That is from Tim Holtz. I've added a label here, and then this is also from Tim Holtz. It's a remembrance card. Then another of those forage tags, and this journal card. This is on Boiled Book, and this is from Miles Beyond the Moon, and that just tucks on in here. It's a big journal card. And then we have this sort of, you know, cabinet kind of drawers paper. You'll see I've hand stitched here, and that's what this is attached to with these 3 gold buttons, and they just kind of fall into the book. More Boiled Book here. It's got great markings from the rack that I had it on, and that flips open. Inside of it, though, we have Orpheus, the little Orpheus tag with Orpheus's information, and Orpheus, he just sticks out of this pocket a little bit here, so you can still see him. And then some of my batik fabric and hand stitching book spine. Another tuck spot here with this little Tim Holtz picture. And then this is a little envelope that was from my Boiled Book, and there's some copper tape on it. It opens, it has a little label, and inside there are 2 little journal cards that both have like little crystal images on them, little crystals. And those just go in there. You can leave it open or closed, doesn't matter. This is more of my hand-dyed paper with coffee-dyed lace. This is a journal card that I made using some eucalyptus leaves that I've stitched and gilded, and the whole thing is on my hand-dyed paper. It's a big journal card held there with a rusty paper clip, and it just sits inside the book. It's on some fun craft paper. This is more boiled doll book and hand-dyed paper. This little curtain here is from Tim Holtz, and it's on this picture from the Nomad book, or this page. There's a picture that's been drawn here of like a skeletal deer. And then this is the journal tag that I made also from the Nomad book, and did some collaging with a Tim Holtz doll. And that just tucks right into the curtain. Over here we have this little pocket, and I made this label that says the sky above them was full of stars. And then it's got some nice Nomad paper behind it. And this is a fabric covered journal tag that I made during Junk Journal Mayhem. It has these starry fabric. This says Storyland of Stars, Every Night After Dark. And it's got these girls here. Just a fun journal tag. Some coffee dyed writing paper, more hand-dyed paper. This is an Edith Holden page for the center spread here. And more hand-dyed papers. This says Curious. It's from Tim Holtz, and this beautiful page here is from the Nomad book. This is from Miles Beyond the Moon, this little bat kind of boy, and some copper tape. It's on watercolor paper. This little star, moons and sun here, and that's Nomad book. Hand-dyed and boiled papers. That's from Tim Holtz. More hand-dyed paper, another of my little vintage children's dress pockets that I made during Mayhem, and this is about Aphrodite and Venus, and that just tucks in there as well. More of the cabinet paper, a little collage book page music pocket on some of the Nomad book paper. This is a vintage botanical image of henbane. It's a journal card. Has a flip here that has this little pocket on it. This is from Tim Holtz, and inside we have this fun card from the it's basically about not just this character, but it's about like altars and the Greeks and Romans and like in general the gods and stuff. Like it kind of gives an overall depiction about mythology. Talks about the sky, the earth. It's kind of cool. Some more of my dyed paper with coffee dyed paper, or sorry, lace. This is a music pocket with a couple of Tim Holtz pieces, this little image, and then this Alfred Hitchcock confectionery tag, and it's on some butterfly paper from a butterfly book. Specimens, again going back to that collecting theme, and this little tip out here that matches the pocket here. It has a condemned tag there. This is a collage tag that I made with a folder, this little crystals stamp. This is an image from Miles Beyond the Moon. Some Edith Holden on the back. This is from the original book. It's just this fun little map. More of my hand-dyed paper and boiled book doll pages. This is a collage pocket on the original book page. This is a little mourning card. So it says, "In appreciation," and it's embossed, "to thank you for your kindness and sympathy at a time when it was appreciated." And it's vintage. It's one of those folding paper cards, printed in Canada. And then this frame here with this inside. This is from a book that was about like old actresses, and I did a boiled book with it, so it turned out really beautifully, and it has a little tab there so that you can push and pull it into that frame, so it goes in really easily. Then some more craft paper, and this white paper is the back of that butterfly paper. I figured I would leave something alone that was just white. You could do whatever you want with. This is more of my hand-dyed paper. More hand-dyed paper here on this flip out. This is from the Nomad book. So it's a vellum envelope, and behind it we have this Florida's Jacaranda Trees in Bloom. This is a postcard. It was sent in 1965 to Bessie Hayes. Yeah. And it just tucks in there, and then inside here we have an original cabinet card, and I felt like this could be a later in life picture of these sisters. And I don't know if it really is. It very well could be, because I get a lot of my cabinet cards and things from the same general geography. Then we have this music pocket here with a little floral. And then inside here we have Zeus, Jupiter information, one of those tags, and this Tim Holtz journal card as well. There's a moth back there and a window. And then some coffee dyed paper with coffee dyed lace. More dyed papers, boiled book, botanical book. This is just rusty paper clipped on. This is a piece that I made during, I think, Defemorember maybe. And so it's got these two crows here. This is removable. This is from Miles Beyond the Moon. Inside here are some little leaves that I foraged, and then this is a foraged industrial tag from Mary Ellen at Red Parrot. She collects those kind of things for me because she's awesome. This is a little sort of brassy, rusty safety pin. There's stitched woven fabric and stuff that actually matches the spine of this book. There's cabbage dyed industrial kind of paper on the back. This tag was one of those tags that I spent a lot of time making. Like during December, usually I would take about 40 minutes on a single piece, and this is one of those little pieces of art, you know. This book has lots of that kind of stuff in it, so yeah, it's got some special things if you're interested in, like, you know, kind of my signature work. It's got a lot of that kind of stuff in it, so I like it. Then over here, I made this pocket from a boiled book, and it was a cover of the doll book. I've stitched some sequin fabric here and then made this simple but fun sort of ship-shape kind of journal card that just has a bunch of Polska stamps on it and postal marks, and that's what it is. Because, you know, I feel like it speaks to the fact that I'm trying to tell a story about collectors, people who would keep snippets of this and that, right? Some more dyed papers, this little floral here, a tag with a bird's nest on it. It's on more original ledger paper. Looking for dates. Then this little kind of cabinet card that I made this with a yearbook. And then this is a Tim Holtz card. More boiled book with dolls, my hand-dyed paper. This is actually lovely. It's also from Tim Holtz, and it's a little like tuck spot for this old image of a rose. It's from an old vintage book. I made a journal card out of it. And then you'll see clipped on here with a rusty paper clip, we have another of these, and this one is Hermes, and he's on another of those nomad pages, and it comes off. It's just paper clipped there. And then more botanical paper, more of my boiled book with leaves. This is a little fabric tab with a rub-on on it of a yellow rose, and then some more coffee dyed paper, and then the back is just kept simple. I've added my seal here and my signature and date, and that brings us to the end of Sisters Aloysius. So I hope you like this little collector story. I love this book. It turned out exactly as I'd hoped it would. I've been working away on it for a bit now, and I'm happy to finally have it done. I feel like all of my things that I've had in my brain for a while, they're starting to kind of wrap up, including this story. So I will talk to you again. If you're seeing this video and you're interested, this journal is headed to the Etsy shop. It's there now if you're seeing the video. So have a great day. We'll talk soon. Bye for now.